If you're struggling with your putting and you're pretty sure it's got to do with your stroke, then this video might help you, because what I'm talking about today are what I call linear forces. Applying a force down and up the shaft of the putter in the follow through or the forward stroke. The reason that I am doing this is because of the success I've had in the long game getting my students to do this and doing this myself. It really does encourage your shoulders to turn, and because the putter is obviously in a far steeper angle, it's encouraging my shoulders really to do what we've probably been taught to do all our lives with putting, is kind of get this kind of pendulum movement moving up and down. The difference is it's getting away from any need or intuitive want to move the club in front of your body right and left, or even move the club head in front of your body right and left along the target line by using your wrists and your arms without using your shoulders. I think one of the things that you'll see in all good putters is this slight rocking of their shoulders and the movement of the arms together with them without any major change in wrist angles, in elbows or in armpits. That all seems to be moving as one piece, and then moving the club back and through the ball on a pretty neutral line, which gives the golf ball hopefully that nice roll into the cup. Now, how are you going to do this? Well, it's quite simple really. What I'd like you to do is make your normal backswing and then simply have the feeling of pulling the club apart, pushing down with your trail hand, pulling up with your lead hand, and especially with your lead shoulder, and getting the feeling of the club being pulled and pushed through the ball, not by applying lateral forces, but by actually applying almost in the feeling vertical forces. Obviously they're not quite vertical because you are pushing down on the side of the triangle and therefore pushing the club back in the backswing, pushing the club forward in the forward swing. The opposite arm is either pulling the club back or it's pulling the club through. And what I've actually found is this seems to keep the club far closer to the ground when I'm doing this. I don't have the feeling of the club being quite as far away from the ground. There's most certainly no steep angle of attack or flight away from the ball. On the contrary, the club is far closer to the ground and seems to be moving on a straighter line than before. Most intriguing is that I'm getting a far more consistent impact location on the club face, and by looking at that, actually if I feel that I'm applying a bit more pressure to the grip through the ball, I seem to be getting a more consistent impact on the face as well. All of these things obviously bode very well for the success of a putt. It does, however, give me the feeling that I'm gripping the club a little bit tighter at impact and through the ball. And it does give me the feeling of control over the club face. I don't have the feeling of really allowing the club to go where it wants through the ball. On the contrary, it really does seem like I am determining the path that the club head is moving on by doing this. As ever, when we're talking about putting, there's not an awful lot of discussion out there about putting stroke, and I think this is maybe something that we want to be looking at. How can I get a more stable stroke? How can I get my hands to be a little bit quieter through impact without telling them to be quiet? I think if you're having problems twisting the club face through impact, pulling or pushing your putts, it's simply because you're trying to stop yourself doing that rather than telling your hands to do something else. And you might well find by giving them this kind of feeling of pressing and pulling the club face down and up through impact, that way you are able to apply a force to the golf club which will stabilize the path, stabilize the face, and give you a more consistent putting action. If it does, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. If you would like to like the video, that helps the channel immensely. Maybe even subscribe to us if you're interested in more technical videos about a golf swing. I'll be back very shortly with the next one. Goodbye.